There's a moment many children face often in silence, when they realize their childhood was shared before they even understood what privacy meant. Hi, I'm Meet Shukla and you're watching Balmurti Online, an initiative by the Unified Growth Foundation. I'm really glad you're here. This episode, Sharenting Part 2, the emotional weight no one prepares parents for, isn't about digital safety. It's about what happens to trust, identity, and emotional boundaries when a child grows up online, documented, filtered, and posted, without ever having a say. It's a quiet kind of grief many parents don't notice until the distance has already begun. Now, before we begin, if you are only listening and not watching this podcast, make sure to check out our channel for the video version of this very same episode. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss more parenting videos like this one. Let's have a look.
Namaste everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Balmurti Online in English. I'm Gaurav.
And I'm Sophia. You know, Gaurav, after the overwhelming response we received on part 1 of our Sharenting series, the messages, the questions that came flooding in, we knew we had to come back with something deeper.
Absolutely, Sophia. The feedback was incredible, wasn't it? Parents were saying things like, I never thought about it this way, or this made me rethink everything. And today we are diving into part 2, which honestly is even more meaningful and perhaps more uncomfortable than the first one.
It really is. This is about the emotional weight that no one talks about. Not the digital footprint, not online safety warnings that we've all heard before, but what happens inside a child's heart and mind when they grow up on display.
And this conversation, Sophia, is rooted in research that's being discussed globally. What we are sharing today comes from insights that are being worked on by leading researchers and bodies across the world, what we call the World Forum of Research and Discussion on Children's Digital Rights.
Exactly. These aren't just opinions, Gaurav. These are patterns being observed by child psychologists, researchers from institutions like LSE Research, findings from the Mott Poll report on digital consent, and even the UN Global Insight on children's rights in the digital age.
And before we go further, we want to acknowledge that all of this has been carefully curated by the Balmurti Editorial Team as part of the Balmurti Online in English project, which is an initiative by the Unified Growth Foundation. They're doing incredible work bringing these conversations to Indian parents.
So Gaurav, let me start with something that really shook me when I was reading through the research. Imagine you're 14 years old. You're just beginning to understand who you are, what you want to keep private, what you want to share.
The age when everything feels so personal, right?
Exactly. And then one day you're scrolling through the internet, maybe searching your own name out of curiosity, and you find a video of yourself. You're 3 years old, half naked, crying during a tantrum, and it has 18,000 views.
Oh God.
The comments say things like, too cute, or future drama queen. And you feel this heat rising in your chest. Not shame, but something deeper, invasion, anger, disconnection, because someone told your story before you even knew it was yours to tell.
And the worst part, Sophia, that someone is the person who loves you most in the world, your parent.
That's the tragedy of it all. It's done with love, pure, innocent, proud parental love. But the impact is something else entirely.
You know, this reminds me of a story a friend shared with me recently. Her name is Priya. She's from Bangalore. She told me that her 13-year-old daughter, Anya, completely stopped talking to her about school, about friends, about anything emotional.
Teenage phase?
People would say, that's what Priya thought too. But one evening, Anya broke down and said, Mama, I don't tell you things anymore because you turn everything into a Facebook post. My embarrassing moments, my achievements, even my struggles, they all become your content.
Oh my heart.
Priya was devastated. She genuinely thought she was celebrating her daughter. She had no idea she was violating her. And Anya, she had been silently pulling away for 2 years.
That pulling away, Gaurav, that's what researchers are calling relational grief. It's not rebellion, it's not teenage attitude. It's the withdrawal of trust. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's the accumulation, post after post after post, year after year, until one day the child realizes, my childhood wasn't fully mine.
The research from Sonia Livingston at LSE talks about something really important here. She says children growing up in the digital age are not just data subjects. They need to be seen as digital citizens with rights. And one of those fundamental rights is the ownership of their own story.
Their own memory, Gaurav.
Exactly, because memory is deeply personal. But when someone else narrates your childhood, tags it, captions it, filters it, you lose that ownership. You lose the ability to say, this moment was mine. This story was mine to tell.
And over time, what does that do to a child?
It creates what experts call psychological displacement. They grow up with a blurred sense of what's private and what's not. They feel like they're always being watched even when no one is around. They develop this quiet resentment.
The Mott poll report actually highlights this beautifully. They found that many teenagers expressed feelings of betrayal when they discovered their childhood moments online without their consent. Even the funny ones, even the proud ones. Because here's the thing that parents often miss. Silence is not consent. Just because a child doesn't protest doesn't mean they're comfortable. Children don't push back because they love you. They want your approval. They think this is normal. They have no framework to even understand what consent looks like at age 5 or 7.
But by the time they are 14 or 15, they remember. And by then, you can't unpost what's already out there.
Gaurav, there's another layer to this that I find really troubling. It's about how vulnerability becomes performance.
What do you mean?
Think about it. A child falls down and starts crying. What's the parent's instinct now? In many cases, it's to grab the phone and record it. Not to immediately comfort, not to hold the child, but to capture the moment because it's cute content.
That's really disturbing when you put it that way.
And what does the child learn from this? They learn that their emotional moments, their tears, their tantrums, their messiness, these are moments to be recorded, not processed, not held in quiet safety.
So eventually they either shrink their emotions to avoid being watched or they exaggerate them for attention because that's the only way they've been seen.
Exactly. And in both cases, they stop feeling emotionally safe without an audience. That's not just a parenting issue, Gaurav. That's a survival mechanism the child develops.
The New York Times actually did a whole piece on this called Why Kids Are Confronting Their Parents About Sharenting. And the stories are heartbreaking. Teenagers saying things like, I felt like I was performing childhood instead of living it.
Performing childhood instead of living it. Let that sink in for a moment.
You know what really gets me, Sophia? The privacy piece. We think privacy is about hiding something wrong. But it's not. Privacy is a psychological need.
It's how children learn boundaries, Gaurav. Privacy teaches them what belongs to them, what they're allowed to keep for themselves, when and how to express vulnerability. And most importantly, that they are safe being messy without being exposed.
But sharenting teaches the opposite. It teaches them your feelings are public, your mistakes are shareable, your childhood is content.
And the long-term effects? According to research compiled by the UN Global Insight on Children's Rights in the Digital Age, children who grow up without real privacy often develop shame around emotional expression, difficulty setting social boundaries, mistrust in intimate relationships later in life.
And perhaps most tragically, a sense that their life must be consumable to be valuable, that they only matter if they're being seen, liked, shared.
Gaurav, I want to talk about something that might make parents uncomfortable. The question of love and violation.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Parents will say, but I posted it with pride. I wanted to celebrate them. It was funny and they didn't mind at the time.
And all of that might be true. But here's the hard truth. Intention does not erase impact.
Love without permission can still feel like betrayal.
Especially to a child who never got to say yes or no.
This is not about demonizing parents, Gaurav. Most parents are doing this out of pure joy, pure love. But we have to ask ourselves, are we protecting what our children cannot yet protect for themselves?
And look, if you're listening to this and feeling a knot in your stomach thinking, oh God, I've been doing this, this is not about guilt. This is about repair.
Yes, it's never too late to start rebuilding trust. Even if your child is already a teenager, even if you've been sharenting for years, you can still heal this.
So how do you start? First, have the conversation. Ask your child directly, how do you feel about what I have shared of you online?
And then really listen. No defending, no explaining, no, but I meant well. Just listen to what they're saying.
Offer to take things down. Even if it's a post from 5 years ago, even if it's your favorite picture, if it makes them uncomfortable, it goes down.
Let them take the lead from now on. Give them veto power. Ask before posting, and when they say no, accept it without question. No guilt tripping, no, but everyone will love this.
Model boundaries moving forward. Show them what healthy privacy looks like for you, for them, for everyone in the family.
According to child psychologist Alison Bloom Ross, who wrote extensively on parenting for a digital future, rebuilding trust doesn't happen in one conversation, but it starts in one.
You know, Sophia, I keep thinking about what our children will see when they are adults. One day they'll look back at the digital version of their childhood. They'll scroll through the posts, read the captions, see the memories we chose to preserve.
And the question they'll ask isn't, did my parents mean well? Of course they did. The question will be, did they protect what I couldn't protect for myself?
That is the deeper weight of sharenting. That is the emotional inheritance we are leaving behind.
This is a topic that today's parents and children will relate to deeply because we're living in this moment right now. This is happening in Indian homes and homes across the world. And the conversation is just beginning.
If you're a parent listening to this, we are not asking you to stop celebrating your children. We're asking you to pause and think, whose story am I telling? And did I ask permission first?
And if you're a young person listening to this, feeling seen, feeling validated, we want you to know that your feelings are real. Your need for privacy is valid. And it's okay to have that conversation with your parents.
This has been part 2 of our series on sharenting.
Until next time, take care.
Children remember what was shared, even if they smiled through it. And as they grow, they begin to reclaim the voice they didn't know they were missing. This isn't about blame, it's about rethinking what we have normalized and starting again, this time with permission, not assumption. What part of today's episode stirred something in you? Share it in the comments. Your honesty might give another parent a starting point too. Like, share and subscribe to our channel, follow us on our social media handles and visit our website for more thoughtful, evolving parenting conversations. Namaskar.